Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So yesterday I was able to finish Midnight Mass, a new Netflix limited series directed by Mike Flanagan, who was also the director of Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor, Doctor Sleep, Hush. And going into this, I was really hyped about it because I loved Haunting of Hill House. I thought that was great. I loved that one. Bly Manor was okay. I think I liked it a little bit more than some other people. Doctor Sleep, I loved that one so much. And Hush, I haven't watched it, but I plan on watching it this October. So I went into Midnight Mass with some pretty high expectations. But before we get into it, please make sure you like this video. And if you're new here, please make sure to subscribe. We talk about all the new movies, TV shows. But let's get into this spoiler-free review of Midnight Mass. So right off the bat, I'm going to tell you guys that I really did enjoy it. I thought it was so great. But I see that it's a hit or miss for a lot of people. I think a lot of people either love it or they think it's sort of meh and it doesn't live up to the expectations. And I can see why. It's very different from his previous works, right? It's very more religion-based and not paranormal activity sort of based like Hill House. It's not as scary as Hill House at all, even though it does have its fair share of scary moments. But I just love the style of the show. It's like a slow burn. The cinematography is really great at times. And that slow burn feel, it kind of made me able to take in the atmosphere of this isolated island. And I just really love that vibe of it. Just, you could hear the water, all these people are very, connected. They've known each other for like all their lives. And you kind of feel that personal connection because they are on this isolated island. And I was able to just, I was able to get in there and feel that. And I just love when a show's environment and its vibe is able to make me feel like pulled in, like I'm there with them. And I think that's what this show did for me. I felt that. Like I said too, this is going to be a spoiler-free review. But the story really is unique and I think it is brilliant. It's something I don't think I've really seen before. I mean, religion has been in horror movies ever since the 60s, right? Maybe even before that. It's just, with horror movies, religion always sort of plays some sort of part for a lot of the movies. I'm not saying for every movie, but ever since, The Exorcist, then we had Rosemary's Baby. You can keep going down the line with all these like paranormal activity stuff. A lot of it comes from like, oh, a demon or, there's the devil or this person comes from, whatever. Religion just plays a big part in horror, right? So I think that Mike Flanagan is not pushing this like Christian agenda on us at all. If anything, he's pushing it against us because by the end, you can just tell that he's not really supporting any sort of religion in any sort of ways. He's not pushing this some sort of narrative onto us or some sort of agenda. I didn't see that because I've been seeing some people saying that, like Flanagan's preaching something onto us, and I just didn't see that. It's like, it's about religion. It's about, there's a priest. There's going to be monologues where he's talking about God and stuff like that. And you just have to expect that. If you're not into that, if you're not into the Christian belief or even want to hear anything about that, then maybe this will be a turnoff for you right away. But for me, I am a Christian, even though I haven't been in the church in a long time. It's just, I just didn't care. Like, I just never saw it as preachy. And by the end, you could just tell he's just telling a story, and these characters have to act in a certain way and say certain things in order to get that message across. And I think even the inclusion of Raul Coley's character, the sheriff, kind of solidifies that idea that, this isn't a preacher thing. If anything, he is going against a Christian religion. Because that character is a Muslim sheriff in this sort of like Christian island. And that whole dynamic of the show was so great. I thought the sheriff was actually one of my favorite, if not my favorite character of this show. And Raul puts on a performance great by doing this character. He did great justice for that. And so I won't spoil the story because I do think you should go in blind with this story. If you've been spoiled for it already, if you haven't seen it yet, please just stay away from anything. And just, experience the story and be surprised by what happens as it goes along. Because it really is great. But one big thing, I don't know if this is a negative or not. Like, I think while I was watching, I kind of saw it as a negative, that it isn't as scary as Hill House, like I said. In Hill House, there's always like a ghost in the background. And it was focused on that horror aspects. Well, this feels more of like a slow burn, intricate, emotional story with horror elements pushed into every episode. There were horror elements in every single episode. And stuff was scary, and even the overall story is scary, but it just doesn't hit those same horror marks as Hill House did. Hill House is an actual scary show, while this was more, it really felt more emotional and powerful. It sort of felt like Mike Flanagan really had something to say here. Like, he was trying to get some sort of message across, not a Christian narrative, but something more powerful and deep and more human, that we could all relate to. This time around, he wasn't just trying to scare us, but he was actually trying to make us connect with these characters and his story. And by the end, I did feel connected. I was engaged throughout every episode, I will say that. It never really lost me. And there was this cool little mystery element in the beginning to where you're just wondering, like, what the hell is going on? Like, who is this priest? Like, who is he really? Like, what happens with this guy? Where is this person? Like, there's all these little different mystery elements and all connects together and fits really well for the overall narrative by the end. But I would say my only real negative, but it's a pretty big one, I guess, is that the conversations do drag on for too long here and there. Sometimes I did like those drawn out conversations because they focus on like existential themes like life and death. And I do like those conversations, you know. Maybe it does come up pretentious for some people. I can see why. For me, I kind of like them. But other conversations just felt like filler and they just weren't needed. But by the end of the show, there's this one moment that made it feel like every conversation did matter in some aspect. So I guess now looking back on it, those conversations weren't big of a problem for me as I originally thought while watching it. But yeah, so I thought the music was really good. The score was really good. There's some like really like religious songs that were actually like pretty good. Like I actually enjoyed them. The score was good. There's like these sharp violin notes that are scary that, you know, some horror movies do. I really love hearing that. And I also saw some like 2001: A Space Odyssey vibes with, you know, if you've seen that movie when the monkey's hitting the bone, the famous part, and it's got like that like opera singing music, whatever. I can't really even describe it. It has like that bass tone. Like it's literally, I think, those same exact tune like in this. So I noticed that and I just thought the music was really good, created this nice little vibe. And I also want to quickly point out that the performances by everyone, I think, were so good. I already said, you know, Raul Coley did a career best. He was really good. Like I said, I think the most interesting character, the priest Hamish Linklater, you know, he's obviously like the main character of the show. He was fantastic. He was so good. I really enjoyed him. I thought he killed that role. Zach Gilford, who I didn't even know he was in the show, so I started watching it. You may recognize him from Friday Night Lights, the main character. He puts on his same, you know, somber performance, but I think for this character it really does work. And I was happy to see him acting again because I really don't think I've seen him in that many things or anything since Friday Night Lights. So I'm just happy to see him back out there. He did great. Kate Siegel was great as always. I know she's in Hush. I haven't seen that yet, but I've seen her Haunting of Hill House. And I think she was in Blind Manor as well. But she always does good. You know, she's kind of like a little scream queen, right? And nowadays, she works with Flanagan over and over again. But I think she does really good here. And everyone else was fantastic. I mean, there's this one church lady. I don't forget her position, her exact title. But she was sort of like the bad guy, and she's like this evil little, you know, nun or whatever. And she was so great. There's like the town drunk, the little girl in a wheelchair. She was great. Her parents were great. The kid from E.T. who's now grown up, and I should know the actor's name because he's been doing great now. But he was good as well. Just everyone kind of had their own story to tell, and I just felt like every character was interesting. But those characters were only interesting because the actors were able to convey, you know, those characters in such a great way. So I just want to give props to the actors. They did great. And I highly recommend this show. I'm going to give you guys my rating right now. I'm giving it a 4.5 out of 5. Very great rating for me. I thought the first episode was good, right? It's very introductory sort of episode, like always. But I thought the episode was good. I think by episode 3, that's when I knew I was hooked. The ending of episode 3 was shocking and crazy, and it was so good. Then it just keeps getting better and better. Then by episode 6, that's my favorite episode. It was so good. I gave that episode a 5 out of 5. It's pretty rare that I give an episode a 5 out of 5. It's easy to get there for some episodes, you know, like Breaking Bad has a couple of 5 out of 5s, you know, a good amount. But for like another show that like is sort of new, it's hard to get a 5 out of 5. But episode 6, perfect episode, perfect. The ending was insane, and the finale almost got to that 5 out of 5 as well. I thought it was, you know, just as good as 6. It wraps everything up nicely. I really enjoyed the finale. I think it got its message across very clearly. And like I said, it's a very satisfactory ending. But that is my thoughts on Midnight Mass. But I do want to know what you guys thought of the show. Please comment down below if you liked it or not. Like I said, it's been a hit or miss for a lot of people, so I'm very interested in what you guys think of it. Like always, please make sure to subscribe. And please make sure to like the video like always. And thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.